In the year 2029, the astronomical community was buzzing with excitement. The James Webb Space Telescope, a marvel of human ingenuity, had been operational for several years, and its advanced capabilities were redefining our understanding of the cosmos. Among its many achievements, the telescope had captured stunning images of distant galaxies, nebulae, and exoplanets. Yet, its most shocking discovery lay beyond the fringes of our solar system, past the orbit of Pluto. Dr. Evelyn Harper, a leading astrophysicist at the International Space Observatory, was poring over the latest data from the telescope when she noticed something peculiar. An anomalous object was detected in the Kuiper Belt, a region populated by icy bodies and remnants from the solar system's formation. This object was unlike any other, larger, darker, and more elusive than anything previously observed. It was moving in a trajectory that suggested it was not a mere asteroid, but rather a celestial body that had long evaded detection. Evelyn felt a shiver of anticipation as she meticulously analysed the data. Her heart raced as she reported her findings to her colleagues. "This could be the discovery of the century," she said, her voice trembling with excitement. "We may have found a new planet beyond Pluto, a 10th planet." Her colleagues were skeptical at first, but Evelyn's evidence was undeniable. The object was estimated to be 3 times the size of Earth, orbiting the Sun at an astonishing distance. The excitement grew as they initiated a series of observations to track its path. They named it Planet X. News of the discovery quickly spread, igniting a wave of public interest. People worldwide were captivated by the idea of a hidden planet lurking in the shadows of our solar system. The media dubbed it the 10th planet, and speculation ran rampant about what it could mean for humanity. As months passed, the team worked tirelessly to gather more data on Planet X. They noted its bizarre characteristics: a highly elliptical orbit, extreme temperature variations, and an unusual lack of reflected light. Unlike the icy bodies in the Kuiper Belt, Planet X seemed to absorb light, giving it a menacing appearance in the telescope's images. One night, as Evelyn stared at the latest images, she felt a strange sensation wash over her. The planet appeared to pulse, its surface dark and foreboding. Shadows danced across its surface, and for a brief moment, she thought she could see shapes moving in the darkness. She blinked, dismissing it as a trick of her tired mind, but unease lingered. With the excitement of discovery came the urgency of exploration. The International Space Observatory launched a mission to study Planet X up close. A spacecraft named the Prometheus was designed for deep space travel, equipped with advanced sensors, cameras, and the latest technology for analysing alien environments. Evelyn was selected as the mission's lead scientist, her expertise in planetary geology crucial for understanding the mysterious body. As the launch date approached, a diverse crew was assembled, each member bringing unique skills to the mission. Among them was Captain James Caldwell, a seasoned astronaut known for his calm demeanour and leadership skills. Dr. Mia Chen, a brilliant astrobiologist, joined the team, eager to uncover the potential for life in the most unexpected places. They also had engineer Tom Reed, whose innovations in spacecraft design had saved missions in the past, and Dr. Sarah Patel, a geophysicist specializing in planetary formation. After months of preparation, the Prometheus blasted off from Earth, carrying its crew into the dark abyss of space. As they journeyed towards Planet X, the crew bonded over shared meals, stories of their past missions, and the excitement of the unknown. However, beneath the camaraderie, a sense of foreboding began to creep in. Days turned into weeks as they traversed the vast emptiness of space. Evelyn often found herself lost in thought, staring out at the infinite black, pondering the mysteries that lay ahead. She couldn't shake the feeling that Planet X was not just a new world, but a harbinger of something darker. One evening, as the crew gathered in the observation deck, they shared their thoughts on what they might find. What if it's not just a planet? What if it's a portal or something entirely different? Mia mused, her eyes wide with fascination. The others laughed, but Evelyn felt a chill run down her spine. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the Prometheus approached the 10th planet. It loomed in the viewport, a massive shadowy figure against the starry backdrop. The crew fell silent, awestruck by its sheer size and presence. Evelyn felt her heart race as she caught sight of the dark surface, marred by deep valleys and towering peaks. "Prepare for orbital insertion," Captain Caldwell commanded, breaking the silence. As they maneuvered the spacecraft into a stable orbit, sensors began picking up unexpected readings. The planet emitted strange electromagnetic waves that interfered with their instruments. The crew scrambled to stabilize their systems, frustration growing as data became erratic. "This is strange," Tom muttered, adjusting the controls. "I've never seen anything like this. It's almost as if the planet is alive." Evelyn's unease deepened. "We need to gather data quickly. The longer we wait, the more we risk losing our chance to study it." The team initiated scans and began sending down drones to the planet's surface. They watched in fascination as the drones descended through the thick atmosphere, capturing breathtaking images of the alien landscape. But as the footage streamed back to the ship, the initial wonder turned to horror. The planet's surface was littered with bizarre formations, jagged spires, deep chasms, and strange swirling patterns that seemed to shift and change. With a mix of excitement and trepidation, the team prepared for a landing on Planet X. They selected a relatively stable region near one of the dark mountains, a place that appeared to have fewer of the chaotic surface formations seen in other areas. As the landing module detached from the Prometheus, Evelyn felt a mix of exhilaration and fear. They were about to set foot on a world that had remained hidden for eons. "Remember, we're here to gather data, not to explore recklessly," Captain Caldwell reminded the team as they secured their gear and strapped into their seats. The descent was turbulent. The landing module shook violently as it pierced through the atmosphere, thick clouds swirling around them. Visibility was almost zero, and the sensors flickered as they approached the surface. With a jolt, they landed, and the team exchanged anxious glances. "Touchdown!" Tom shouted, unfastening his harness. "Let's see what this place has to offer." The airlock opened with a hiss, and the team stepped out onto the alien surface, their boots crunching on the dark, rocky ground. A heavy atmosphere surrounded them, thick and suffocating. The landscape stretched out before them, barren, desolate, and eerily silent. As they surveyed their surroundings, Evelyn couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. Shadows moved at the edge of her vision, but when she turned, there was nothing there. Shaking off her apprehension, she activated her tablet, beginning to collect samples and data. "Look over here," Mia called, pointing to an enormous rock formation that appeared to pulse with a faint glow. The team approached cautiously, their senses heightened. The glowing rock seemed to resonate with the electromagnetic waves detected from orbit, and Evelyn felt a strange pull toward it. "What do you think it is?" Tom asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Evelyn studied it carefully, her scientific curiosity battling with a growing sense of dread. It could be a type of mineral, but its properties are unlike anything we've seen. As they collected samples, a deep rumble echoed across the landscape. The ground shook beneath their feet, and the team stumbled, struggling to maintain their balance. Panic set in as they realized this was no ordinary seismic event. The rumbling intensified, and the shadows at the edges of their vision grew more pronounced. "We need to get back to the module," Captain Caldwell shouted, urgency lacing his voice. They sprinted towards the landing module, but as they did, the shadows began to coalesce, taking on twisted, nightmarish shapes. Evelyn's heart raced as she felt a primal fear grip her. It was as if the planet itself was coming alive, reaching out to them. As they reached the module, a deafening roar filled the air. Evelyn turned just in time to see a massive shadowy form rise from the ground. It was a creature of darkness, its eyes glowing with an otherworldly light. The team stumbled back in horror, unable to comprehend what they were witnessing. The creature towered over them, an amalgamation of darkness and swirling shadows. Its body seemed to shift and change, reflecting the chaotic nature of the planet itself. The team stood frozen, paralyzed by fear, as the entity's glowing eyes locked onto Evelyn. "Run!" Captain Caldwell shouted, snapping them from their stupor. They scrambled into the module, sealing the hatch just as the creature lunged forward, its claws scraping against the metal. The impact sent tremors through the module, and alarms blared as the systems reacted to the distress. "What the hell is that thing?" Tom shouted, frantically checking the sensors. Evelyn's mind raced as she tried to process the encounter. It must be some form of life, but it's unlike anything we've ever encountered. It's not just a creature, it's a manifestation of the planet's energy. Mia's face was pale as she struggled to control her breathing. "We have to get out of here. We can't stay on this planet." "Let's gather the data we have and see if we can analyze it from the ship," Caldwell suggested, his voice steady despite the chaos. As they initiated their systems, the sensors detected unusual readings from the glowing rock they had approached earlier. The readings were off the charts, indicating a massive energy source emanating from it. "Evelyn, what do you think it is?" Mia asked, her eyes darting nervously between the sensors and the viewport. Evelyn's heart raced as she considered the possibilities. It could be a power source or even a way to communicate with the entity. We need to understand what we're dealing with. As the module stabilized, they prepared to launch a small drone to gather more data from the glowing rock. With the drone operational, they sent it outside, monitoring its progress on the screens. The glowing formation pulsed rhythmically, and for a brief moment, Evelyn thought she could hear a low hum resonating in her bones. But just as the drone approached the rock, the ground erupted with energy. The entity surged forward, its form twisting and expanding as it enveloped the drone in darkness. The sensors went haywire, and the screens flickered before going dark. "Get us out of here," Caldwell ordered, panic creeping into his voice. With shaking hands, Tom worked to engage the launch sequence. They felt the familiar jolt of the module, lifting off the ground, but the atmosphere around them seemed to ripple with anger. As they ascended, the creature shrieked, a sound that pierced the very fabric of reality. The darkness followed them, clawing at the edges of their module as they fought to break free from the planet's grasp. Evelyn watched in horror as the shadows stretched and twisted, trying to reach them, desperately seeking to reclaim its lost presence. Once safely back aboard the Prometheus, the team struggled to regain their composure. Evelyn's mind raced as she tried to process what they had just encountered. The entity, the manifestation of the 10th planet, was not just a creature. It was a guardian of its own realm, a dark echo of the life that once thrived there. "We need to analyze the data we collected," she said, her voice steadier than she felt. "There must be something in it that can help us understand what we just experienced." The team gathered around the central console as Tom brought up the data from their landing. Screens filled with images of the glowing rock and the chaotic energy readings they had captured just before their escape. "I don't like this," Mia murmured, her brow furrowed in concern. "What if the entity can follow us?" Evelyn's heart sank at the thought. "We need to ensure that the Prometheus is equipped to handle any further anomalies. Let's run a full diagnostic and see if there are any lingering effects from the planet." As they worked, Evelyn found herself drawn to the images of the glowing rock. It pulsed rhythmically, and she could almost hear the hum she felt earlier. It was as if it was calling to her, urging her to understand its nature. After hours of analysis, they began to piece together the clues. The electromagnetic waves they had detected were unlike anything known to science. It was a form of communication, a language of energy that resonated with the very fabric of the universe. "Do you think it's possible to communicate with it?" Tom asked, a spark of hope in his eyes. Evelyn considered this. "If we can replicate the energy patterns, we might be able to create a feedback loop, something to establish a connection." The crew worked tirelessly to recreate the energy signatures from the glowing rock. As they made progress, Evelyn felt a strange connection to the planet, a yearning to understand what it was, and what had happened to the life that once existed there. Days passed as they worked to communicate with the entity, but unease hung in the air. The Prometheus drifted in orbit around the 10th planet, a silent witness to the chaos below. They monitored the planet's surface, and each day, the shadows seemed to shift and change, almost as if they were alive. One night, Evelyn awoke from a restless sleep, drenched in sweat. The nightmare replayed in her mind. The creature rising from the darkness, the feeling of being hunted. She'd glanced at the monitors, heart racing as she saw an unusual fluctuation in the readings. "Captain, you need to see this," she called, her voice urgent. Caldwell rushed in, his eyes narrowing at the data. "What is it?" "Something is happening on the surface. The energy levels are spiking, and the shadows are moving." They gathered the team, watching as the monitors displayed chaotic patterns, the entity responding to their attempts at communication. The shadows coalesced, forming a massive silhouette against the landscape. "We need to go back," Evelyn said, her voice trembling. "We need to understand what it wants." Caldwell hesitated. "Are you sure that's wise? We barely escaped last time." "I know, but this could be our only chance to uncover the truth. We can't ignore this." After much debate, they prepared to descend once more. With hearts pounding and fear gnawing at their minds, the crew boarded the landing module, determination mingling with dread. As they landed on the surface, the air felt electric, charged with an energy that made their skin tingle. The shadows swirled around them, drawing closer, and the team instinctively huddled together. "This way," Evelyn urged, leading them towards the glowing rock. As they approached, the pulsing light intensified, casting eerie shadows across the desolate landscape. Suddenly, the ground trembled again, and the entity materialized before them, its dark form towering and twisting. It let out a bone-chilling roar, and the ground shook violently. The crew stumbled back, fear gripping their hearts. "Evelyn, what do we do?" Mia shouted, panic rising in her voice. Evelyn felt an overwhelming urge to connect with the entity. "We need to try the energy signature, now!" Tom quickly activated the device they had created, sending pulses of energy toward the creature. The shadows around them intensified, swirling with rage and confusion. As the pulses of energy hit the entity, it paused, its glowing eyes fixed on Evelyn. For a brief moment, she felt a connection, a wave of emotion washing over her. The entity was not just a monster, it was a remnant of a world long gone, a protector of its secrets. But then the connection broke. The creature roared in fury, unleashing a wave of energy that sent the crew flying back. Evelyn felt herself being pulled into the darkness, the shadows enveloping her as she lost consciousness. Evelyn awoke in the landing module, disoriented and gasping for breath. Her mind raced as she tried to piece together what had happened. The others were unconscious around her, and alarms blared, warning of imminent danger. "Guys, wake up!" she shouted, shaking Mia's shoulders. Slowly, her crew began to regain consciousness, confusion etched on their faces. "What happened?" Caldwell murmured, struggling to sit up. "The entity. It reacted to the energy pulses. We need to get out of here." Tom rushed to the controls, but the systems were malfunctioning, the alarms screaming in protest. "I can't get the engines to respond." Evelyn felt a sense of impending doom as she looked out the viewport. The shadows outside writhed and twisted, forming into tendrils that reached toward them, beckoning them back into the darkness. "We're running out of time," Mia cried, her voice tinged with desperation. Suddenly, the shadows surged forward, engulfing the module. Evelyn felt a chill envelop her, an overwhelming sense of dread as the darkness closed in. "Hold on," Tom shouted, desperately trying to regain control. As he wrestled with the controls, a massive jolt rocked the module and the systems flickered to life. With a roar, the engines ignited, propelling them upward as they broke free from the planet's grasp. They soared into the sky, the darkness retreating behind them, but the entity's furious roar echoed in their minds. As they ascended, the crew looked at one another, fear and relief washing over them. They had escaped, but at what cost? Evelyn felt a heaviness in her heart as they moved farther away from the 10th planet. The shadows lingered in her mind, the connection to the entity haunting her thoughts. It was a world that had been cut off from existence, a guardian of forgotten memories. Back aboard the Prometheus, the crew worked frantically to analyze their data and understand what had happened. The entity, a manifestation of the 10th planet, had been more than just a creature. It was a remnant of a long-lost civilization, a protector of its secrets. "What if we could learn from it?" Mia suggested, her eyes wide with fascination. "What if it holds knowledge that could change everything we know about the universe?" Evelyn pondered this, her heart heavy with the weight of their discovery. But at what cost? The entity was a guardian, and we may have disturbed something ancient and powerful. As they reviewed the footage from their encounters, they noted the strange energy signatures that accompanied the entity's movements. "It's almost as if it was trying to communicate with us," Tom said, his brow furrowed in thought. Maybe it wasn't just angry, it was scared. The realization hit Evelyn like a lightning bolt. It was defending its home. We intruded on a world that had been isolated for eons. It didn't want to harm us, it wanted to protect itself. Their discussions continued late into the night, the weight of their experience hanging over them like a dark cloud. They had glimpsed the edge of a new understanding, a glimpse of a lost world, and the guardians who remained to watch over it. But as they prepared to leave orbit, a new set of readings emerged from the sensors. A surge of energy was building on the surface, and the shadows seemed to pulse with an intensity that sent chills down their spines. "We need to go," Caldwell urged, his voice steady despite the tension in the air. "Now." As they made preparations to leave the 10th planet behind, Evelyn felt a pang of regret. They had ventured into the darkness, and while they had escaped, a part of her felt a connection to that lost world, a world that was not meant to be disturbed. The Prometheus returned to Earth, greeted as heroes for their groundbreaking discovery. Yet, the crew struggled to reconcile their experience with the accolades they received. They had uncovered the existence of the 10th planet and the entity that guarded it, but the truth weighed heavily on them. In the weeks that followed, Evelyn became consumed with thoughts of their journey. She pored over the data, determined to find a way to communicate with the entity, to understand the mysteries of the 10th planet. But as she delved deeper, she found herself plagued by nightmares, visions of the creature and the shadows that haunted her every waking moment. One evening, as she sat alone in her lab, she received an unexpected visitor. It was Mia, her eyes filled with concern. "Evelyn, you need to take a break. This isn't healthy." "I can't," Evelyn replied, her voice strained. "We have to understand what we encountered. The world deserves to know the truth." Mia sighed, sitting down beside her. "But at what cost? We've seen things that defy explanation. Maybe it's time to let go." Evelyn looked up, her heart heavy with the burden of their experiences. "You don't understand. That entity, there's something more to it." It's a part of the universe's story, a guardian of knowledge we can't ignore. As the days turned into weeks, the crew drifted apart, each member haunted by their experiences on the 10th planet. Evelyn remained fixated on her research, determined to uncover the secrets hidden within the shadows. Then, one night, as she sifted through the data, she received an alert on her monitor. The sensors detected a surge of energy emanating from the 10th planet, a signal that seemed to call out to her. It was an echo of the energy they had experienced during their encounter, a resonance that pulled at her very being. Evelyn's heart raced as she realized this was their chance. She activated the communication device they had built aboard the Prometheus, replicating the energy signatures they had recorded. The device hummed to life, sending waves of energy into the depths of space. "Please understand," she whispered, her voice filled with longing. "We're not here to harm you." As the energy pulsed through the void, she felt a strange connection form, a bridge between her world and the 10th planet. The shadows on the surface seemed to respond, shifting and swirling, as if acknowledging her presence. For a moment, Evelyn felt a wave of emotion wash over her, a sense of understanding, of connection. The entity was not just a creature, it was a remnant of a lost civilization, a guardian of memories and knowledge. But then, the connection broke. The shadows surged in a violent wave, and Evelyn was thrown back as the monitors flickered and went dark. Evelyn stumbled back, her heart racing. The connection had been fleeting, but it left a mark on her soul. The entity was not just a guardian, it was a reminder of the delicate balance of existence, a reflection of the fears and hopes of those who had come before. As she regained her composure, a surge of determination filled her. She couldn't give up. The 10th planet held secrets that could reshape humanity's understanding of the universe. With renewed purpose, she returned to her research, poring over the data from the James Webb Space Telescope and the Prometheus. She began to formulate a plan, one that would allow her to return to the 10th planet to face the shadows and seek the truth. Weeks turned into months as she prepared for a new mission. With support from the International Space Observatory, she rallied a team of scientists and astronauts who shared her vision. Together they would return to the 10th planet, not as intruders, but as seekers of knowledge. As they launched into the darkness once more, Evelyn felt a mix of excitement and trepidation. They had come to understand the entity, to seek a connection that transcended fear. But she knew the dangers that awaited them and the shadows that lurked just beyond the light. As they descended through the atmosphere, the landscape of the 10th planet stretched out before them, a haunting beauty that both beckoned and warned. The glowing rock pulsed in the distance, calling to her like a siren song. They landed with a jolt, and Evelyn led her team toward the glowing formation. The shadows swirled around them, alive with energy, but she felt a sense of calm wash over her. "Remember, we're here to understand," she reminded her team, her voice steady. As they approached the rock, Evelyn activated the communication device, sending out pulses of energy that resonated with the planet. The shadows responded, swirling and twisting, as the entity materialized before them, its form more defined and powerful than before. "Please, we want to understand," Evelyn called out, her heart racing. The entity paused, its glowing eyes fixed on her, and in that moment she felt a connection, a surge of understanding that transcended fear. It was a guardian of knowledge, a remnant of a world that had once thrived. And then, in a flash of brilliance, the entity enveloped her in light, the shadows swirling around her, and she felt herself being pulled into a realm beyond comprehension, a place where memories intertwined with the fabric of the universe. Evelyn saw visions of the 10th planet's past, a civilization that had flourished, the beauty of its landscapes, and the connection between its people and the cosmos. The entity was not a monster, but a protector of its legacy, guarding the memories of a world that had been lost to time. As the visions faded, she felt the weight of knowledge settle within her, a profound understanding of the universe's intricacies and the delicate balance of existence. When she returned to the present, the entity was gone, leaving behind a resonating silence. The shadows receded, and Evelyn turned to her team, their faces a mixture of awe and confusion. "What just happened?" Mia whispered, her eyes wide. "I think we've found the answers we've been seeking," Evelyn replied, her heart racing with a sense of purpose. "We need to share this knowledge with the world." As they prepared to leave the 10th planet, Evelyn felt a sense of peace wash over her. They had confronted the darkness and emerged with a deeper understanding of the universe, a legacy to share with humanity. Back on Earth, the world was abuzz with news of the 10th planet and the revelations brought forth by Evelyn and her team. Their journey had captivated the public, igniting a passion for exploration and the unknown. Evelyn presented her findings to the scientific community, detailing their encounter with the entity and the knowledge they had gained. The 10th planet is not just a celestial body. It is a living memory, a guardian of the cosmos, she declared, her voice filled with conviction. We have a responsibility to protect it, to honor the legacy of those who came before. As her words resonated with the audience, she felt a sense of hope. Humanity had the potential to learn from its past, to embrace the mysteries of the universe with reverence and respect. But not everyone shared her vision. As the public fascination grew, so did the interest of powerful corporations eager to exploit the 10th planet's resources. Plans were proposed to send commercial missions to extract its minerals, to harness its energy for profit. Evelyn's heart sank at the thought. "We can't allow that to happen," she urged her colleagues. "The 10th planet is a sacred place, a reminder of our connection to the universe. We must protect it at all costs." A coalition of scientists, environmentalists, and activists came together to form a movement dedicated to safeguarding the 10th planet. They lobbied for international treaties to protect celestial bodies from exploitation, advocating for a new era of responsible exploration. As the movement gained momentum, Evelyn found herself at the forefront of a global conversation about the ethics of space exploration. She traveled the world, sharing her experiences and urging others to join the cause. But as she fought for the 10th planet, she couldn't shake the feeling of dread that lingered in her mind. The shadows of her past still haunted her, reminding her of the entity that guarded the planet's secrets. Months passed, and while the movement to protect the 10th planet flourished, the shadows that had haunted Evelyn began to return. Nightmares plagued her sleep, visions of the entity and the darkness that surrounded it. Despite her efforts to share the knowledge they had gained, a sense of unease settled in her heart. The world was becoming increasingly obsessed with the 10th planet, and she feared that the true message was being lost. One night she awoke in a cold sweat, her heart pounding as the shadows danced at the edges of her vision. The connection to the entity felt stronger than ever, pulling her towards the unknown. Driven by a compulsion she couldn't ignore, she reached out to her former team, urging them to join her for one last mission to the 10th planet. They needed to confront the darkness and seek the truth once more. As they prepared for their journey, Evelyn felt a mix of apprehension and determination. This time they would not only seek answers, but also confront the shadows that lingered in the depths of their experiences. The Prometheus glided silently towards the 10th planet, its silhouette stark against the backdrop of distant stars. As they descended through the atmosphere, a sense of foreboding washed over Evelyn, mingling with the excitement of discovery. "Are you ready for this?" Mia asked, her voice steady but laced with concern. Evelyn nodded, though doubt gnawed at her mind. "We need to understand what the entity wants, to confront the darkness once and for all." They landed on the surface, the landscape eerily familiar, yet tinged with an unsettling aura. The shadows seemed to pulse, alive with energy, as they gathered around the glowing rock. "Let's activate the communication device," Tom suggested, his eyes filled with determination. As they prepared to send out the energy pulses, Evelyn felt a surge of emotion, a sense of urgency, as if the entity was waiting for them. She activated the device, and the energy resonated through the air, creating ripples in the darkness. But instead of a response, the shadows surged forward, enveloping them in an all-consuming darkness. Panic surged through Evelyn as she felt the cold tendrils wrap around her, pulling her into the depths of fear. "Stay together," Caldwell shouted, but the shadows swirled around them, isolating them from one another. Evelyn's heart raced as she fought against the darkness, her mind racing with thoughts of the entity. "We're not here to harm you," she shouted, but her voice was swallowed by the void. In that moment, she felt a flicker of recognition. The entity was not just a guardian. It was a reflection of their own fears, a manifestation of the darkness they had encountered within themselves. Suddenly, a blinding light erupted, illuminating the shadows as the entity materialized before them, its form more powerful and commanding than ever. Evelyn felt a surge of understanding, a realization that they were all connected, not just to the entity, but to the very fabric of existence. The shadows were not their enemies. They were a part of the universe's balance, a reminder of the darkness that existed within each of them. As the entity loomed before them, its glowing eyes locked onto Evelyn, she felt an overwhelming sense of connection. It was not just a creature, but a part of the cosmic dance, a guardian of the 10th planet's history. "We come in peace," she said, her voice steady, despite the fear coursing through her veins. "We want to understand, to learn from you." The entity paused, and for a brief moment the shadows receded, revealing glimpses of a forgotten civilization, the beauty of its landscapes, the harmony between its inhabitants and the cosmos. Evelyn felt a wave of emotion wash over her, the essence of life that once thrived on this planet. "We honor your legacy," she continued, "and we seek to protect it." As her words resonated through the darkness, the entity shifted, its form rippling with energy. The shadows around them responded, swirling in a mesmerizing dance, as if acknowledging her intentions. But then, the darkness surged again, and Evelyn felt herself being pulled into the void. The shadows enveloped her, and she gasped as memories flooded her mind. Visions of the 10th planet's past, the lives that had been lost, and the entity's role as its guardian. In that moment of connection, she understood the weight of their responsibility. They were not just explorers, they were stewards of the universe, tasked with protecting the fragile balance of existence. "Help us help you," Evelyn cried out, her heart racing with determination. "We can't change the past, but we can work together to protect the future." As Evelyn's plea echoed through the darkness, the entity paused, its form shifting as if contemplating her words. The shadows that had once felt menacing began to soften, revealing intricate patterns that danced along the surface of the glowing rock. Evelyn sensed a change in the atmosphere, an understanding that transcended fear. The entity was willing to communicate, to bridge the gap between their worlds. With renewed resolve, she activated the communication device once more, sending pulses of energy that resonated with the entity's essence. The shadows danced in response, swirling around her in a beautiful display of light and color. "I see you," Evelyn whispered, tears streaming down her face. "I understand now. We can coexist, learn from one another." The shadows pulsed, and Evelyn felt a connection deepen, a bond forged in understanding and compassion. The entity was not a monster to be feared, but a guardian of knowledge, a remnant of a world that had once thrived. As the darkness began to dissipate, the landscape of the 10th planet unfolded before them, revealing the remnants of a civilization lost to time. The entity guided them, showing the crew glimpses of the past, the harmony that had once existed between its inhabitants and the cosmos. Evelyn and her team were filled with awe and reverence as they witnessed the beauty of the 10th planet, a world that had endured despite the darkness that sought to consume it. In that moment, they realized their mission had changed. They were no longer mere explorers, they were ambassadors, tasked with sharing the knowledge and legacy of the 10th planet with humanity. As they prepared to leave, the entity pulsed with energy, and Evelyn felt a deep sense of gratitude. They had forged a connection that transcended fear, and in doing so, they had become part of the 10th planet's legacy. "Thank you," she whispered, her heart full. "We will honor your story and protect your home." With a final surge of energy, the entity enveloped them in light, and they felt a warmth wash over them, a promise of understanding and coexistence. As the crew ascended back into the cosmos, Evelyn knew that their journey was just beginning. They would carry the legacy of the 10th planet with them, a reminder of the delicate balance of existence and the power of compassion. Back on Earth, the world was transformed by the revelations brought forth by Evelyn and her team. The movement to protect the 10th planet gained momentum, sparking a global conversation about the ethics of exploration and the responsibility of humanity to safeguard the cosmos. Evelyn became a leading voice in the movement, sharing her experiences and urging others to embrace the unknown with reverence. The legacy of the 10th planet resonated throughout the scientific community, inspiring a new era of exploration focused on understanding rather than exploitation. As she stood before a gathering of scientists, activists, and supporters, Evelyn felt a sense of purpose. "We are not just explorers, we are custodians of knowledge," she declared. "Together we can ensure that the stories of the cosmos are honored and preserved." With each passing day, the world became more aware of the beauty and fragility of existence. The 10th planet served as a beacon of hope, a reminder of the connections that bind all living beings in the universe. And as Evelyn gazed up at the stars, she knew that their journey was far from over. The cosmos held countless mysteries waiting to be uncovered, and with the legacy of the 10th planet guiding them, humanity was ready to explore the unknown with open hearts and minds. Together they would forge a future that embraced the beauty of the universe, honoring the past while reaching for the stars, a testament to the enduring spirit of exploration and the power of connection.